Hello and welcome to Chapter 111 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Clay. Clay, how you doing today?
I am doing pretty good. Just a fair warning to everybody. I am being treated like a child this week because I am back basically in my home that I grew up in with my grandparents. So, literally, right next to me, I have a Dr. Pepper. I have a handful of Nerds candy. Like, I am literally a kids in a candy store here with my grandparents. So, that is why my audio is going to be a little bit different. I am finally moving into the new apartment that I'm going to be at coming this weekend. So I'm going to have my office. I'm going to have my whole setup. That's going to be well in just everything with come Monday on our next news show. But I'm doing pretty good. It's been a pretty good start of the week. How about you?
I'm doing good. We have a lot of news this week, which is happy. Like I know it's because DC likes to put news out Tuesday, Wednesday, while we're just after we do a show. But besides that, Clay, like the mug here, I'm watching deep into the NHL playoffs that started tonight. My team, Toronto Maple Leafs, has not won the cup since 1967. My father was 8 years old. He claims he remembers it, but it was not in color. So I kind of have a little, I don't know, you're right. I don't know if I really believe you, but it's been a lot of heartache for me year after year after year. And somehow, actually, I was out for most of this year, but I tweeted out the GIF earlier today of a guy standing up with a sign saying, I'm ready to be hurt again. And that's right where I'm at. I'm ready to be hurt again. My team is up 3-0 going into almost the second period. It's over. There's one period left. And I have no confidence that they won't blow this 3-0 lead for all the history of disappointments I've had. So, yeah, I will intermittently be turning my head left, listeners, if you're or right, if you're watching live on YouTube. But there I am intermission right now, so I think I can get through most of this. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance network with 8 shows in total. On Mondays, it's Ranger Alliance with Clay and rotating guest hosts of Jake and Joe. Clay, you had a new episode out this week. It's up in my queue, ready to go tomorrow when I walk the dog. I listened to the first couple minutes. I think it was you solo this week.
Yeah, just because of everything that was happening with me moving here, I didn't want to complicate things with Jake. So what I ended up doing, I sent him a quick text. He actually shared his thoughts via text, so I do read those off in the episode. But it is a solo episode. It's actually pretty short because of that, so I do apologize. But it
Don't
was a
apologize for 23-minute episodes. Don't make me look too bad here. Like some of mine, I can remember a couple being 17 minutes, and I'm like, oh, I don't even know. Can you even put an ad in here?
well,
I was like,
it was just it's rough because, and I said it in the podcast. It's rough because right now, Mighty Morphin in our reviews is quite possibly like its worst right now, just because the content is pure trash. I loved the
yeah.
show as a kid, but now that I'm seeing it as an adult, I'm like, holy crap, how did I watch this garbage? But we are inching our way to season 3 and eventually to the other seasons, which are going to
When
be at
you
least
get
more
to In
interesting because of
Space,
more
when you
content.
get to In Space, Mr. Hans is going to be lined up for coming on a lot of episodes. That
It
finale, that two-part finale, I think that might be still the best episodes of
I
Power
think
Rangers.
you Joe and Jake all talk about it. I've told them that In Space actually did not fulfill my 10 episode rule. I've said it on the show before. I would watch 10 episodes of a season, and if I couldn't get to 10 episodes, I would skip to the crossover and then skip to the finale. I didn't make it past 4 episodes on In Space, so I
That
watched the
rule was
crossover.
not in effect or didn't exist. Come,
Mighty Morphin,
woo,
no.
better goal. Sorry.
No, so it did not exist. It did not exist in the show. But when I was doing my rewatch like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that was my rule. And when I watched In Space for the first time back then, that was my rule because the seasons all have like 50 plus episodes. I'm not going to invest that much time if I'm not liking the season. So I only made it past like 4 episodes of In Space. I watched the crossover and then I watched the finale and I was just like, all right, let's move on
I
to the
know
next one.
why. I know why because I think Jake and Joe were the same as me in terms of I was out of Power Rangers in. I was getting pretty much out of it, and that finale brought me back in. And unfortunately, they didn't keep me because I think one of the next seasons was like trash and extra trash going forward. One of them was the sword guy who ended up murdering somebody. I maybe with that actual sword. Don't quote me on that part. But the Red Ranger, the Forever Red episode,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but that in space episode was so good. But yeah, new episode there, just Clay. That rotates bi-weekly with Slice of Film with Katie and guest hosts Mark and Sarah. And that on Tuesdays is this show, DC Alliance, with myself and Clay. On Wednesdays is superhero discussions. We're in Young Justice right now, barreling towards the end of that. So I'm excited to see, especially like the last couple episodes. I haven't watched the most recent episode. I'm going to do that tomorrow because I'm casting on it tomorrow. But yeah, check that out there. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance with Katie and Clay. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance with Chris and Brent. Programming note, Marvel Alliance is going live on Friday this week to review Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I'm pretty confident both of us are going to be on there. I thought you said you were maybe, but I think that maybe will change to a plus.
Yes, I
Yeah,
I
I
am
figured as much.
now that I have a different situation here and I have a pretty good setup and I'm sounding pretty good, I think that I will do just fine for that review. So I will definitely be there.
Super excited for that. On Saturdays, bi-weekly is a walk through the multiverse with Joe. On Sundays, monthly is World's Finest True Believers with Chris Belga. That's all the shows. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and Marvel Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel 9-10 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance for just Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content. But if you want all 8 shows, stay subscribed to the Geek Ultimate Alliance on your podcast app of choice. Clay, we also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically our tip jar. You like what we're doing, you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. All of us in the chat have read The Last Ronin. I'm sure we will plan a time to get together to talk about it. I thought it was just a great ending to it, but that's all I'll say about it. There's a lot of other stuff, including the MCU rewatch that Chris and Brent are doing. You and Snell are reviewing the Batman '89 comic. I'm doing my top 5s, and Joe has Multiverse Minutes, which I guested on this past week. He put up an episode. We did The Boys Season 2, Episode 5. Joe, the episodes you bring me in, they're very eventful, so it was fun. So check that out, patrons. We're doing a lot for you guys. If you can take 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts, that would be greatly appreciated. It helps get us in the algorithm for other people to see us. So, yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, and one other thing. We will be going live this week for Superman and Lois, I think, but it's going on hiatus again after this week. So we'll get back together with you guys whenever
Well,
they decide to put the show back
correction.
together.
Correction.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we will be
We are
recording.
not.
That's what I
We
meant to
won't
say.
be going live because, of course, Moon Knight has its finale over at
Yes.
Marvel Alliance, so they are going to be recording live because of the change in schedule due to Multiverse of Madness. So,
Thank you for slotting in there, Clay. That's
yeah.
solid teamwork there. That's how it's done. So that's everything. I think I got through all the paperwork, and unfortunately, we have to lead off the show with some
Well,
sad news.
before we jump into the sad news, let's do some good news.
Ooh,
I for me, I don't usually do this, so like I was really surprised that we didn't have a we're going live tweet. So I went on to our DC universe or the DC Alliance Twitter account. I went into notifications. It's your Twitter anniversary. Celebrate with a special tweet creating just for you. So I don't know when you created this Twitter account,
do you
whether it
think I
be
may have created this, or do you think there's a chance I might not have created this?
I mean, whether it be you, Snell, or Greg, we have been on Twitter for what looks like 2 years now. So, yeah, if you are not following us at DC Alliance, of course, the Twitter handle is, I always forget it, DC Alliance GUA. Go check us out there. Of course, we ask for listener questions. We talk about every single time that we go live. We talk about some of our thoughts on the current shows that we are talking about. And we even asked a question about our topic last week, which was a question from Chris Balgo, one of our co-hosts, making us create our own Justice League Dark team. So that was very fun. Go check us out on Twitter. We are trying to be more active than we have in the past, for sure. So, just a little highlight
Now,
there.
I will say too, I got it, listeners. This is on me. I'm like I said, I've been watching the playoff, the first two periods. Didn't even. I slid in here with a minute to go before we went live. So I actually looked at my phone as I was walking downstairs to my computer, my iPad, and various other things. And Clay was like, "Are you okay?" Because I'm normally here messaging Clay a lot earlier before we start. So yeah, I am. I actually just did the tweet, Clay, for the
All right,
show.
there you go. Now, like Heinz was getting ready to say, we do have to start the show a little bit on a sour, sad note. Uh, the legendary Neil Adams has died. He was 80 years old. Of course, he is very famous for his work on Batman with Danny O'Neill. He is the co-creator of characters like Ra's al Ghul. Uh, oh shoot, I had a whole lineup there. Oh well, of course, Heinz did the work for me and put some
Yeah.
of his big things here. So it says here, comic book fans are far and wide are mourning the death of Neil Adams, the artist who changed the game with his realistic illustrations in the 1960s and 70s, considered somewhat of a superhero himself in the comic book world because he also helped champion for the rights of comic book creators.
That's what a lot
Uh,
of the creators have said to Clay in
yeah,
the social media reaction to this, saying like he would just call and make a call, and he'd be so happy. His son put out a nice thread talking about when people said what it's like to have Neil Adams as your dad, and it's quite touching. So I just wanted to point that out. You should check that out. His name is Josh Adams. So check that out on Twitter. It's very nice.
so of course, like he said, he reimagined characters like Batman. He was on Superman. He has a very famous cover, of course, with Green Arrow and Green Lantern. The whole like Speedy shooting up with drugs and stuff. Very, very famous cover. Uh, he was a legend. Now, to make a sour, sad note, kind of funny, and I will say, death is not funny. I have dark humor. I'm sorry. Uh, no, I will add this
Be careful.
because
Remember the last time dark humor came out for you? It did
oh
not work.
oh
Yeah.
I will just say on my other podcast, Batman News Weekly, we were asked a question: what is the worst comic book we've ever read in regards of Batman? Um, and unfortunately, it was Neil Adams' Batman Odyssey. Um,
That's the last one he did when he came back.
uh, we talked about how that was probably the craziest, wackiest story we've ever read, and we didn't really like the way it was put out, just because of like that's not really how Batman is portrayed nowadays. And of course, it's his own little wacky story, and totally, his creative control and everything else. So it's totally fine. But literally the day after we recorded that, his announcement of his death came. So I was like, oh shit, we killed Neil Adams. We were so
he
mean.
he did do a good run on Dead Man as well, Clay.
Yes, he
That
did.
what did get him notoriety and some awards. He's been around, like I said, for quite some time. The list was so long with like him getting into Batman, and they had him for a while. They rejected him. DC did first, and he had to go to
Hmm.
Archie Comics. I think was the first, and had to come back around to get DC. So it was a lot of push. He said one person just looked out for him to get him. I think that's where that came from for him. He was instrumental in getting the Superman creators their rights, like
Hmm.
some like cut of their stuff, because when he heard about that, he was pretty like pretty peeved, obviously. So it sucks. This is a lot of people's like way into comics. Like you see the people like a generation before us, like the Frank Millers, the Todd McFarlane's, a lot of those guys have said like how much that his work inspired them, and vice versa. Like it just keeps going like that.
Yeah,
And
he has done amazing work. Like I said, he has some very iconic covers. He has one of my favorite covers when it comes to Superman. The breaking of the kryptonite chains is quite possibly the one of like 10 covers that I always think of when I think of Superman covers.
the
So,
Batman Ra's al Ghul fight when he has no
mhm,
shirt on and the
yeah.
sword, like that's that's some shit right there. That's some awesome shit, and
Yeah,
it just
so
sucks.
my condolences to the Adams family. And he, like we said, he is a legend. If you want to read any of his content, of course, it's over at the DC Universe Infinite app. I'm pretty sure they have a creative tab on him. So if you search Neil Adams,
That'll
all of
probably
his
be
books will pop
highlighted.
up.
That'll probably be highlighted on that. Oh well, sorry, I missed. Never mind. I assume that's a good organization that is on the ball would
Yes.
have
Now,
that highlighted. So don't
what
quote
I
me
will
if you go in there and see it's not there. I
Well,
can't.
I
Apologies.
I will say this though. This is something that I very much don't appreciate as somebody who did work at a comic book artist. For all of you who are now putting your Neil Adams comics on eBay or trying to sell them at comic book shops, don't do it, please. Don't try to make a buck out of somebody else's death. It's kind of disgusting and stupid. There were so many people who attempted to do so at the comic book shop that I worked at when Stan Lee died, and we didn't take anything Stan Lee related for like at least 3 or 4 months after.
That's a
Um,
common place with some principles. Clay, you've already seen. Look at the eBay for the not even eBay, Facebook Marketplace for here on this island. There was a guy selling those two Spider-Man issues with the wrestler that they're doing
yeah, yeah. No,
the
I shared
hundred
it
and fifty
on.
dollars. I almost wanted to comment, and it was here. There was a one that was done here, and I almost wanted to comment saying like, "Do you really think you're going to get?" uh, anyone to pay that for these comics when gas is $2 a liter here in now if I think it's 4 liters makes up a gallon, my American friends. So do your math to see how much we're paying when you guys complain about your gas.
I don't like math, so I'm not going to do it. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and move on to our main topic of the night. Of course, let's go ahead and get my show notes here. Cinemacon 2022. SBub says, just wait until the El Muerte sweep. No, no, no. I'm telling you now, no, SBubs. It's not going to happen. But we had some footage hit us at Cinemacon. Of course, it has not been released, but oddly, I do have to point out something that Chris said in our group
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah,
The
please.
fact that there was leaked footage of Olivia Wilde getting served on stage at CinemaCon, and you guys didn't put any footage out of any of these superhero trailers, like it is a disservice, people.
Can
Come
the
on now.
person who was worked on Multiverse of Madness and got is getting all these leaks, can you go to CinemaCon next year, please? They're the person that's leaking that because although I don't know how it's possible, but I have not seen one tweet, and I don't even have anything muted for that. I just have
So
the preview media
I
previews
was
turned off.
there is there is a pretty big leak that I had avoided all day. And because I am currently moving, I went to the old comic shop that I used to work at, and I was selling some Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And there's this one guy that always is there, pretty good friend of the shop. And he came up to me. He's like, "Clay, I haven't seen you in so long. What's up? Hey, blah, blah." Started to like really, go back and forth. He's like, "Oh, dude, have you seen this picture?" And I didn't even process anything until he was like, "Hey, look who's on this photo." And I saw the photo that has
Okay,
been
okay,
leaked. I'm
that's
not
where the story ends. I know,
that's
I
where the
knew you were
story
going to
ends.
say it. Yeah.
That's where the story ends. And I was just like, I hadn't seen it. And he just looked at me. He's like, "Oh, well, that sucks. Well, what do you think about it now?" I'm like,
Clay's like,
I was
and
so
we're
mad.
not going to see each other for quite a while now. Bye
I was
bye.
so mad.
That sucks, man. That's
This
the
is
worst.
people, this is why you stay indoors during the trickling of a pandemic. I
It's
have
really
not stepped in that.
hard too,
I have
though.
not stepped into that shop in so long. And the first time I step into that shop, I get spoiled for Multiverse of Madness. So I'm kind of upset. So
That sucks. It's hard too, though, when you're doing a podcast, Clay. Any podcast, when you got to dig for information, look around. It's just you can so easily get spoiled. It's a tough game out there, but if you're out there online, like you, unfortunately, you didn't like you just walked into a comic shop. Now it was a comic shop, so that's a little might have been a little red flag, but still, that completely sucks. Like
well,
that's
the one rule when I worked at that comic shop was no spoilers. Like that was because we're all comic fans. We all
yeah.
have different schedules. We're all going to see movies at different times. So that was the one rule. And he just like put it out there, and I was so upset. But moving forward, the big thing. Oh well, before we do, SPub says I have every single hashtag and name related to the Multiverse of Madness muted. I have my own news account muted from my main account.
Main.
Now, I will say this very interestingly, and something that I really do appreciate on my timeline on Twitter is I was seeing everybody warn about the leak, but nobody was sharing the leak. So I will say I have limited stuff muted, but because of that, I just want to go out and say, everybody on my timeline, good job. You did the one thing that you're supposed to do. You warned and didn't share. So bravo to everybody on Twitter. But yeah. So the
Let's get
first
into the leaks that were shared.
the first thing you have up on our list is Black Adam. During the Warner Bros. Cinemacon 2022, Dwayne Johnson took the stage and revealed the trailer for his long-awaited upcoming film, Black Adam. This description of the trailer footage came courtesy of the Anklers, Jeff Snyder,
Snyder. Yeah.
Fandango's Eric Davis, and Gizmondo's Germain.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm saying this
Lassier.
right.
Lassier.
Lassier? Okay. So in the footage, Johnson's Black Adam is shown as a slave, while a voiceover states, I was a slave until I died. Then I was reborn a god. I kneel before no one. Meanwhile, audiences were treated to shots of him in action, taking down a helicopter, catching rockets, and firing lightning. When the uh, t- t-
Titular.
titular, sorry, character is told that he can be this world's destroyer or its savior, and that there are heroes and there are villains, and heroes don't kill people. And philosophy is more than clear when he responds with, "Well, I do." The tone of the trailer has been described as dark and powerful, with similarities to Marvel's Black Panther in terms of his look and speed. And just to drive the intensity home, it concludes with Black Adam catching a rocket with his bare hand following an explosion. this so before we
That was
move
a
on to
big
anything else,
sigh. You're like,
well, I know that was a little bit of a dramatic sigh. Uh, so there is a lot of action here, which I totally assumed because let's face it, Dwayne is not winning any Oscars anytime soon. Uh, but one thing that I haven't really seen in this description, and I'm hoping that they kind of wait for, because I've always said, and you've kind of agreed with me, one of the biggest descriptions that Daniel RPK has said on Twitter, that this action is almost like can be related to that of a Dragon Ball Z. And for me, that is a big deal. That is something that you can't just go out and say for action
they said
sequences.
Man of Steel and Dragon Ball Z. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yes. So like
That's
this.
quite a no offense to Marvel fans. That's quite a step down. I love Black Panther, but I'm sorry that like this, especially the CGI action of that third act when they're fighting in that underground tunnel
Mhm.
system. Like it's not as good as the 2013 Man of Steel CGI when you're fighting the giant third act, in my opinion. Sorry, in my opinion, just want to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So if you're making your fighting like that, they stepped it back in what they said, but maybe they'll just temper expectations a little bit so they really knock our socks off.
Yeah. Now, in this, it tells the whole description of somebody telling him, which I would probably assume is Doctor Fate, saying, "Hey, there are heroes, there are villains. Heroes don't kill, villains do. Blah blah." And this whole thing with like, "Oh, well, I do." Uh, you know, I've gone back and forth on this whole thing of like Black Adam being a villain, whether he's a hero, and all of this. And Brent did bring up a very valid point that in a lot of the Justice Society or Justice comics in DC, he did play uh, the anti-hero,
He
really.
went back and
Um,
forth a little bit, like
yeah,
he
and
left
there
through.
was and for me, with my comic reading challenge this year, I even read 52 for the very first time.
Ooh.
And so, excuse me. And then, of course, there was a lot of things happening within the character, his psyche, and just stuff that was happening to him that really caused that, for him to really walk the line there. And so I can see this working out. I just I want this to be more than just a beat 'em up spectacular movie, you know?
No, like I will hold it on there because we had no description of the JSA characters and the way they're talking. The way they're talking, they may even get spin-offs for that. So maybe they're just showing a little tiny piece of what is the giant pie of the story. So Wonder
As Pub says,
Woman.
I mean, the DCEU heroes do kill. Superman is killed. Batman is killed. Wonder Woman is killed. Um, Aquaman. Did he kill anybody in this
Yeah, well,
movie?
he left Black Mantha's father to die.
That true. True.
No, I don't know
Uh,
how you would classify that. If you manslaughter,
I'm
murder.
I'm I mean, what's the line
What?
from
Don't
Bale's Batman?
incriminate.
What's
Actually, just let it go by
what's
and
the
don't
line?
incriminate yourself because you don't want to give Snell a receipt where he'll
No,
say, "Here's
what's
what you
the
said
line
here."
from Bale's Batman? The Batman Begins.
I don't have
Oh,
to
I
save you, but I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save
don't
you.
have to save you.
Indirectly, you not saving him is killing him because you could have left the torpedo off him instead of saying, you're gonna die," as he walked out. That's essentially what Aquaman did. So
Oh yeah.
it's like,
So I guess the only hero that hasn't killed anybody would be Cyborg and Flash.
yeah.
So yeah. So I guess you're right, DCEU heroes do kill. So
Oh
that
well, that's going to be erased in a couple movies, so we'll get back to that.
that
But yeah, Clay, I'm excited for Black Adam. I think that's why I put it at the start. I really think that you may be blown away by as Bob says, Keaton's Batman will fit right in. Um, yeah, I think you'll be blown away by The Rock, especially like this type of material. He's getting to dig in a little bit more than being like Hobbs. Is he Hobbs or Shot? I don't know. I don't watch. I stopped watching after
I'm
that.
pretty sure he is Hobbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So uh, I think he's going to be like this is a bit more like a character that you can draw a bit on with your own like heritage from your father and like his lineage, like of what you went through as and like as before you got your powers. And I think that like, this is a role where he, like I said, he's been wanting to make this for so long. So I have a lot more confidence that he's going to nail this role, and it's not going to be just like him saying one-liners like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Feel like people remember, like people say Arnold Schwarzenegger was this huge star. He just says some one-liners than that. Like you couldn't understand most of what he was saying. So I don't understand really how he got so big just because of his muscles. I don't know. Anyway, Rocks. I think this is going to be a great film, and I'm interested in the spin-off potential for this. No, they say nothing about the JSA here, but I hope. S Bubs did say, I think, no, Stu did say he wanted to see Hackman done right, and I'm the same way. I would love to see him like be one of the breakout hits, but with the way WB Discovery is running, I don't know for what unless it's. I think with the way they're running, we may get stuff if it's like connects to the DCEU.
Yeah.
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 So next up is Shazam 2, which kind of worked out, especially where they moved the date up to coincide here. They're doing reshoots right now for both of those films. So I'm hoping there was like some scoopers saying that was sharing the Shazam versus Black Adam fight from the animated short. So hopefully that's what they're putting in. I don't know how they haven't even kind of teased that yet. Uh, that's what everyone expects when you put a Shazam and a Black Adam out.
Yeah, I don't think they want to tease the team up or the clash of these two characters until one of the movies is finished, until we've seen, especially because it's first, Black Adam. I
Did you think
think
we would see more Black Adam hints or Easter eggs in the first Shazam? Did you? Because we only got that essentially made of lightning guy with
no,
this
I
wisdom.
think that it was a good enough tease to understand that, hey, like there is a character that is a part of Shazam's past
There was a deleted
that
scene too, right, where there was an extra throne that they pointed out.
I
I thought
so
so. Maybe.
no, see, this is what we were discussing this last year with the whole Mandela effect with
Yeah.
Sandberg saying that this wasn't in the movie and all
No,
of
I
that.
don't think it was in the movie. I think it was an extra after the
Yeah,
fact that we saw. Yeah. So I
yeah.
don't know if that counts as continuity. With DCU, you don't know what the continuity is. SBub says it's in the
It's
main
in the
movie.
main movie,
I trust you, SBub, so that's what we're
but
going at.
I'm pretty sure when we talked about it, I have Shazam on my phone and I fast forward and it wasn't. So,
Maybe the streaming version it was not, but
but the DVD or Blu-ray has it or a 4K.
who
Uh,
who knows?
but I will say this. I am looking forward to any tease that they put out there. Um, I think for me personally, out of everything that was coming out of CinemaCon, Shazam 2 is what I'm looking forward to the most. Um, that is mainly because I loved the first movie. Uh, and I will say, looking forward to the most as far as of enjoyment. I think I'm looking forward to the most in the Flash to see how things turn out for the DCEU and its continuity and everything else. We will get onto that later.
I have a little theory for you to throw it to you when we get there.
But Shazam 2 is definitely the one that I'm more excited about as far as like actually sitting down, having a good time, enjoying a fun movie.
Helen
Um,
Mirren, Lucy Liu are going to be great villains, I
and
think.
this trailer description just screams the first movie. And I can't argue with how Sandberg has created
It's
this
not even a
character.
trailer description, I think, Clay. I think it's just a clip because they say the clip from this film showed Astro Angel's Billy Batson having a dream about Wonder Woman, wanting to date him. He also speaks to Helen Mirren's villainous character later and mentions that he's seen all the Fast and Furious movies, some of which star Mirren, before his whole family shows up. And it says, additionally, Gal Gadot isn't playing Wonder Woman in the footage, but it is unclear who is actually playing the character. More footage shows Shazam at a restaurant in Paris with Wonder Woman at dinner, saying that he can't commit to being with her before she walks out. She then turns around and reveals that it isn't Gal Gadot in the role, but rather Merlin, who warns the hero about the daughters of Atlas in a dream. After a massive dragon lands next to Shazam, he makes the comment about the Fast and the Furious movies. The rest of the Foster siblings land beside him right as he says family for a second time. So they're kind of a couple funny shots at Fast and Furious films, if you ask me there.
I like as much as I like because I've always said I'm not like the massive Fast and Furious franchise fan. I watched the movies probably like 2 or 3 years later after they've come out. Uh, I still enjoy them, and it's all for the memes. We talk about the family meme almost every freaking day in our chat. It's absolutely hilarious.
I think Fast and the Furious movies, I think the Venom movies are the equivalent for superhero movies. The Fast and Furious, the same sort of, you got a like lot more disbelief to me anyway, and they're very
Mm,
campy and pop. Sorry, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Listeners, too many people in our
go back,
GUA chat.
erase,
Too many people in our GUA chat
control
actually
delete.
like the Fast and Furious movies, so there's a lot of that in the chat. Although the family
Oh
stuff is
man.
hilarious. I'll never get
It's
tired of the
absolutely hilarious. But I am so ready for this. I can just picture that footage of, well, as Bob says, if there's something everyone knows about the Fast franchise, it's that you don't turn your back on family. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um
Don't ask a certain director of that.
but I can just imagine this dream sequence, and it's going to have me on the floor. I'm so ready for Shazam 2. I'm eager to see if Gal is actually in the movie or not. And like I said, I think Shazam 2 will have a bigger tease to its connection to Black Adam, more so than Black Adam will with Shazam.
I really
That's my
hope
guess.
if they bring them together, I really hope they have Superman there too. I really hope though. So because like that, I really think that
More
animated.
on that later.
I'm a big Green Arrow fan. I still think that animated short with Superman, Shazam, Black Adam was the best one of all the animated shorts that I've watched, and it was so good. I
Ooh.
absolutely loved it.
It
Superman having the conversation about being good to him, like Clark was in the.
I think I still own that one. It's
That's
it's a
such a
great
good
one.
one.
I
Oh my god.
I think I liked it more for the fact that oh man, who was the voice of Shazam? It was
I know
Jerry
George
O'Connell.
knew. I think George
Jerry
knew.
O'Connell. Or was it Jerry or Sean? It was one
I'm
of the
not
two
sure.
twins. But uh love the casting for that short, and I agree with you. It was that one and the Green Arrow one were the top tier of that of those animated shorts.
So,
The
any thoughts on that, Clay? Like the massive dragon, you think that's in his dream as well?
no, I think that s-
Ooh.
something with the Atlas daughters, they're going, like, I think they're going to lean heavily into the magic here. Um, we saw how crazy the sins were last last movie, and I think that we can get a little bit more into the fantastical here. They've tested the waters with what the audience wants from this character, and I think it'll work out.
I'll never forget being into Shazam and a little kid was there, and then the seven deadly sins came to life, and the mother had to take the kid out of the movie. So it's just like not that much of a kids movie, I guess. Yeah, I have nothing else for that movie. You want to move on to Aquaman too?
Yeah, so Aquaman 2, the escape
Lo-
from Amber Heard.
The last
Fandango,
case. I was
Fandango's
wondering if you
Eric
throw in
Davis
one of those.
revealed Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom showcase. We'll see Jason Momoa's hero forced to reluctantly team up with his brother King Orm and take down Black Manta, who has grown stronger and more dangerous since the first film. Collider's Stephen Weintraub. I
Frosty.
Frosty. Oh, that's why you call him Frosty. I was like, what are you talking about?
I don't know.
So
His name is Frosty. Like I think his nickname is Frosty. His handle's Frosty. I don't know. I just know people call him Frosty. I don't know why.
okay.
I just
Also noted that
I
the
hope it's not
sequel
a terrible name to it. I hope it's like a cool nickname and not like something people would say to like put him down.
noted that the sequel looks to be much bigger than the original due to its new character and locations. He also noted how Black Manta will have a new ship in the film and may have been taken over by some dark energy that could explain his increase in power. Don't know how I feel about that. I did, however, read the first four volumes of Aquaman 52. There could be some sort of answer to that, kind of. But I'm gonna have to see how it plays out in the story. Now, does
Yeah, like
Aquaman
I
2?
don't think he would need that to kill Aquaman from what we saw in this first film. Like he came pretty darn close with the upgrades with the Atlantean tech. So, but
But
maybe to
also,
be able to
Aquaman was
threaten
very
all.
inexperienced with, I say inexperienced, but we saw that he kind of turned his back on his Atlantis heritage back then, but he embraced it now and all of that.
I
So
think
it says here,
to be a
Aquaman.
threat
Oh,
to the wait, I think be a threat to the full seven seas, we will have to see some sort of upgrade for him. Like unless I don't know if you're going to do a whole like bombs planted in all the kingdoms type deal. I don't know
yeah.
how that's going to play. So I think maybe you being able to do something, maybe another like staff type thing. I don't know. They could go lean into
Probably.
something like that, yeah. Especially
Yeah.
with Shazam and Black Adam preceding it, Clay, there's already a lot of magic. So, like, I don't know why you wouldn't lean into it when you do have those fantastical elements. Like, everyone's breathing underwater, so
Yeah.
introducing magic shouldn't be that, like, out there of a concept.
Yeah, for sure. It says Aquaman 2 will introduce Arthur Curry's son. Atlantis has another member of the royal family. It has been reported the Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom will introduce the son of Jason Momoa's Arthur Curry and Amber Heard's Mira. No further details about the character are known at this time, aside from the fact that he is a young child and will be important to the plot. If that is so, I wonder. I mean, I'm a stickler for continuity and timelines. How far into like the timeline is this? Like, how many years have passed since Justice League and all of that? Like, is he a newborn? Like, how is that fitting in? Like,
I hope some people check this out on YouTube, but we're getting it, Clay. Look at me. We're getting it.
I hope not.
Not spoon hand, because all I have here around me right now, listeners,
This
is
is
a
my
spoon.
strong hand.
But I think I think we're getting him having to like cut off his own arm, same kid type deal. That was when I saw that in Justice League Unlimited or Justice League, sorry. I was blown away that they actually went there with animated, and I really think they could go that route. You know, Clay, they could go next movie saying the same thing that like Star Wars did, except like Atlantean Tech regrew his arm kind of deal. Like you with civilizations that advanced, you can do that. But I would love to see him put in some sort of thing where Black Manta takes his child after what Arthur did with Black Manta's father. I would love to see some sort of turnabout, and it would put Orm in a very like precarious situation. I could see Orm like pretending to side with Black Manta only to turn on him in the last like couple seconds, like just in the nick of time. You could see the full turn for Orm, or do you think there's any chance he goes back to being a villain and like says like screw what Bob said? I don't care that she's alive. I'm being a villain.
Um, I don't think it matters after our conversation that will precede the CinemaCon conversation. Honestly, um,
Ooh.
because I think some of the rumors are true. We will get into that later. But I could see him very much um, being because in the comics we see Orm kind of play both sides of the coin, be very close to the chest, be on the side of Atlantis, but still have that grudge against Aquaman, playing the political route, like, hey, I need to save face, but I can still, get a jab in every once in a while type of thing. I can see that happening.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the other rumor was that Amber Heard had less than 10 minutes of screen time. Uh, that's possible. Maybe tied up with a trial going on or something. I don't know. Yeah, but let's go on to the final film. Clay, The
Uh,
Flash.
The Flash. So the new footage included a preview of Sasha Kaye, Supergirl, and Michael Shannon coming back as General Zod. Shots of several bat suits and Keaton's Batmobile were also featured. The trailer reportedly didn't feature Ben Affleck's Batman. Keaton's Batsuit is reportedly new, and he has a bunch of new suits. Keaton's Cape Crusader also has a bat cycle. Miller's Barry Allen mentioned in the trailer that everyone was drawn to was drawn to each other like magnets. The trailer reportedly ends with Keaton's classic quote asking Barry, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." I'm gonna hate that so much. I don't.
I have before you go anymore. I got to put it out there, listeners, because I said this. I'm not sure if I said this in the chat or not, but I don't. I think I'm gonna just put it in the notes. I don't think that's an iconic. Like that's not the most iconic line I think of. Like if you're going for No Way Home type of like I'm something of a scientist myself, or the Peter interaction with Doc Ock, I'm Batman would be one like showing him out on patrol saying I'm Batman.
Yeah, but
Maybe
like honestly, like, do you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. like I don't want Batman saying he better be Bruce Wayne asking Barry Allen that. But if it's
That even
Batman asking Barry Allen or the Flash that's gonna look stupid.
I just don't think
Uh,
that's as iconic of a line as people are saying. Like even the people now, like I was 2 years old when this movie came out, but I did like I burned through the VHS. How many times I've watched that? So
I mean, I know Chris Bauga is really excited about this line because he uses that GIF notoriously
I think
in
the GIF
art.
is famous. GIF slash meme is famous, but I don't think the line is nearly as famous as the
Well,
meme.
okay, you need to also understand we live in a meme world. So like it doesn't really
Thought you were gonna say we live in a society.
no. No, we live in a meme world. And if you can make a meme come to life, that's what people care about. Um, and it sometimes works, it sometimes does not. And I don't think it's going to work this time. But everybody else will say that it is because it's Michael Keaton's Batman. And people just for some reason will just jizz all over Keaton's Batman for no reason. So,
The reason is they have great nostalgia for him, and to most people, he's their favorite Batman. But clearly, to you, he's not. I want to say too that people said that the trailer didn't feature Ben Affleck's Batman, but they said Keaton's bat. He has a bunch of new bat suits, and he has a bat cycle. The picture they shared for that, they shared a picture of like the onset bat cycle, and that was Ben Affleck's bat cycle and Batman in the different like. So I think that they might have gotten that part mixed up. The little shot of him in bat cycle, I think that might have been the Ben Affleck Batman. There's because he's wearing a different kind of suit. It's harder to see. I'll share you the picture later of what they shared of the
no,
bat
now
cycle.
they've cut Ben Affleck from the movie and they've photoshopped Keaton in all of his shots now.
Okay,
So it's
well,
just
I
Keaton.
figured
It's
that just
just
happens.
Keaton.
I figured that just happens after the film comes out. Like they will do that. I want to say here because the people are with this because General Zod and Fiora were also shown here in this film and well in these clips. So I want to say I think by the end of this film the two Earths will merge into one.
Well,
And I think that some will be saved, some will be changed, some will be different. Some timelines will be different. I think General Zod will be alive. I also think that Henry Cavill will be alive and Superman. I think they're going to make a push for Superman from what I've been reading. Now, they could cast a completely different person, but I think Superman is going to. I don't think they're going to erase Superman from the timeline and like just have Supergirl. I don't think that's going to happen. From everything I've read with WB
it
Discovery,
really depends. It really depends on how you look at Flashpoint. If it's
no,
a
I'm just.
if it's the beginning of the end or if it's the end of the beginning. You know?
Oh, I could see a new Superman coming in, but I don't see from everything I've read and some of the decisions we'll talk about after, like a little bit. I they want return on investment. They want big guys out there, and they showed Superman in the preview. Like they showed someone you couldn't get pictures or videos of the whole thing, but I saw pictures of Superman there showing off the HBO Max with Man of Steel. So like, come on, get me some content. I want to see the actual content. But Clay, I do think there is a chance that I'm not saying Henry Cavill, but I don't think the rumors we saw of Superman not existing and only being Supergirl. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I don't think they're going to throw away Superman. They may have a different idea for Superman than what Henry Cavill wants, like
See,
be a
that was
side
the idea.
character to
That
Supergirl.
was the idea before Discovery finalized their thing, and we will get into that later. I think there is an entirely new ball game that I don't think we were expected to join that we are now in now that Discovery is making these big moves.
Sorry, there's
So
like this big brouhaha going there. Like
so I
four
think
different guys fighting. Sorry.
I think that we can get on to our third second it's our third topic of today, which would be the DCCW cancellations and what this means because of something that SBub shared with us earlier, I think yesterday. So both Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow got the axe on Friday. Batwoman ran for 4 seasons and Legends of Tomorrow ran for 7. Is this a sign of things to come for the DC shows on the CW? Do we see any of these shows making the jump to HBO Max? I will go ahead and say this: no and yes. So sorry. In this order, yes, and no. So I do think this is a sign for things to come on DCCW, and I do not see any of these shows going to HBO Max. That is my thoughts on it. If you want to run your thoughts on it real quick before we really get into the nitty gritty of all this.
I do think that more DC properties are going to find the X. I want to say, first of all, crazy that Legends got 7 seasons. I understand people are complaining, getting mad because in a um, honorable world, a just world, I guess, that you would be told at the start of season 7 that this was your last season, so you could properly end it and not end on a cliffhanger. Now, like that's the way that you would hope, especially if you've been on and did 6 seasons, you would hope that they would come to you and say there's even let you know there's a chance that you might be gone. Like we're in this merger here, we don't know how things are going to go, so like just a heads up, maybe you might want to not leave it open ended. It's up to you guys, but and I can understand the comic writers, like the writers, not the comic writers, but the TV writers for those shows, because look at stuff like Lucifer getting picked up on Netflix because like that is a possibility. So why would you close it all up? So I can see people complaining because there's a lot of representation too, Clay, with both those shows. Like CW went in different ethnicities, different religions, different orientations.
Well,
It
this is
was
where I kind of have to laugh at the situation, unfortunately, because the DCCW spent so much time, the creative spent so much time spinning this whole thing that happened with Batwoman, right? And I think it was a bad move to whoever leaked whatever or whatever trade put whatever out. The announcement of Legends should have came first. It looks so bad for you to put Batwoman as like the very first DCCW show to ever get canceled on the CW. Like that just looks horrible for
yes,
what you
I
were trying
agree
to
with
do
you. I agree
and
with you,
all of the other
Clay.
stuff that was happening to it. Like it just looks bad.
It was terrible look for them. They could have. You're 100% right. Especially Legends had 7 seasons, and folks, I'm on the camp. I'm on a very small island especially with the show's fans, that the first season was the best season of that show.
Yes. No,
I
100%. Yes,
loved
it
it.
was.
They and listen, I also not try and pretend they drum up interest and buzz for this show by marketing as somewhat of a like Justice League animated series show come to life
They
on the CW.
they
They
the way
threw
they
Arrow and
showed that
Green.
first season or
Yeah.
the first two seasons, I got the vibes of this is going to be DC's Doctor Who.
Now
That's what I saw from it.
I will say they put out a promo for it. I think a Comic-Con promo or something where it like featured Green Arrow and Flash very prominently and showed them in the fighting and stuff. And you're like, oh, this is good. Wow, we're gonna see. And Flash was interacting with other legends, and it was a big robot. And you're like, okay, are
Yeah.
they going to go on missions with them? Like, is this like you didn't know, but it really created buzz, and I really enjoyed that first season too. A lot of good callbacks there. I missed that. Was such a great season. But you're right; it should have been the Axe for 7 seasons. That's a pretty great run. A lot of shows don't get there. Supergirl didn't make it to 7 seasons.
No, it didn't.
So it got 6. So Legends, tip your cap, Legends. You almost had more seasons than the show that started everything on the first DCCW and Arrow. So uh, it sucks, Clay. We already know the Flash has got a season. Like, do you think any of these shows could instead not get an extra season? Do you think they're going to cancel the Flash now? But they already had a deal signed with Grant
We've
Gustin, so
we've
you'd have
heard
to bury
we've
that
heard
too, which is
rumors
not.
and we've heard rumblings of the Flash having its final season here, like this next one being its final
The
season.
next one is going to have to be because
Yeah.
it's going to cost too much to get rid of some of the stars. Because they just signed some new contracts with some of these people,
No,
including
that's what I
Grant
mean.
Gustin.
Because
Yeah,
Grant Gustin has like I think a contract for $200,000 for each episode. I think they're going to go through with that for sure, but I think that season is going to be its last. Um, And
Don't tease me like that.
from what we have seen and from what we have heard, Superman and Lois may also be on the chopping block.
See, I don't know about that. We were told like the Warner Brothers Discovery is kind of looking to have one Superman in the DCEU. That's it, just one prominently featured Superman. Now that would go against everything that Warner Brothers before Discovery purchased him did with the whole uh
Multiverse and all of that.
and
Yeah.
what's the DC fandom and the whole multiverse. They didn't stop saying multiverse for several panels, so it's a little frustrating because I loved the Superman and Lois show. The only thing that frustrates me about that show is what the CW is doing with it in terms of airtime. Like I know they've gone on breaks before, but it's never seemed like this. I could be wrong in how many breaks it took, but it never felt like this with when we had uh, Arrow, Flash, and Legends, or just Arrow and Flash, Arrow, Flash, Legends, Supergirl. It never felt like they were taking such long a hiatus multiple times. It's very frustrating. Where I think that show could thrive on HBO Max, Clay. Uh, just get them doing 12 episodes, no coming, going, doing the machine of we got 12 days to shoot. Let's get this done. We got to do VFX for this other episode while we're doing this episode. No, if you're on HBO Max, here is your money. Here is the 10 episodes we want. Go film them. Take the time that you need to film them instead of we're throwing you in this DCCW TV machine where you only have 10 to 12 days to film things and do the VFX shots. And that's why some things don't look as good as the others. So it could really thrive on HBO Max, but I don't know after reading everything with Warner Brothers Discovery talking about people just giving the previous regime just letting people go on HBO Max with projects and like not even looking at the return on investment or how much it costs, like just giving them the open book. So I don't even know if we would get that. I think that the show would thrive more on the CW. Uh, it's rather frustrating because I know you enjoy the show like I do.
Yeah, I very much enjoy Superman and Lois. We have had some great discussions over at our Superman and Lois review show. Comes out on Wednesdays. Now, because of our schedule, some of them have come out on Sundays. There was a little bit of technical difficulties yesterday, so it came out late. So go check out that episode 10 review for sure. But we have two questions in regards to the cancellations because it wasn't just these two shows that got canceled. Because, I put it in the show notes. Wonder Why they weren't the Wonder Twins. It was the Wonder Whys. The Wonder Twins also got canceled.
Yeah.
Uh, and it
That was
wasn't
a
even,
HBO Max property,
it was
not a DCCW?
but it's still under the Warner Media WB.
You
It
know what that
has.
did, Clay? You know what that did? That made Doom Patrol, Titans, and everyone go like tighten up a little bit, be like,
Well, but
Pete, what?
here's the reason why this is why I wanted to have this discussion today. So S Bubs, who is in the chat, sent us a question saying, how many of these upcoming DCCW shows, such as Justice U or Gotham Knights, do you think will actually happen after the recent cancellations, which I assume are related to the Discovery's reconstructing of DC? I very much think that it is the reconstruction of DC. He did also, double down on it with the whole Wonder Twins cancellation, showing us a little theory that I'm going to get into right now. So, as far as Justice U, I don't think it's happening. I do not think it's happening. I think that Dave,
Ramsey.
Ramsey is getting more into the director's chair for the CW stuff.
He's doing the
Uh,
next episode of Superman and Lois, guys, the one that
yeah.
comes out on Tuesday.
Gotham Knights, I think the pilot is the only one that's going to be
That is done filming too. That's just filming.
going out into the airwaves or whatever. Now, I think these rumors here, he did share something on our post. It's the home of DCEU. It says this, of course, pretty sure it's a theory, not a scoop, but let's discuss. It says here Zaslav is cutting down on these projects to build the DCEU and not have low budget DCEU projects. Wonder Twins was cut because the plan is to build towards a unified Justice League focused DCEU. Every project that does not have tons of money contributed to it is in danger. Guess what that also includes? Titans, Doom Patrol. I'm pretty sure. What else is there? There's
I don't want
unfor-
you. I don't think you want to hear this, but I don't think that includes Titans.
I think it does. I
I
think it
think the
does.
no. I think the point too is return on investment. What you get. Titans is everywhere. Titans is on Netflix Canada. Titans is on Netflix in like they're selling a lot of that. I don't see half as many DCCW shows on there as I do Titans. I can't make sense of it, Clay. You and I both are in the same
Oh no,
camp of quality.
I totally agree. But if this rumor is true of hey, we want a unified universe, because again, as stupid as it is, I think they want to play catch up. They want to follow the little nuggets and breadcrumbs of Marvel, and they're going to try and erase everything and make their own unified universe. Meaning they're going to have connected shows, they're going to have, connected shorts, whatever. I think this does include Superman and Lois, Titans, Doom Patrol. I think it also includes all animation. So Young Justice, anything that was, probably planned from now until,
Kite Man.
what Kite Man. I think there is a lot of stuff that is on the chopping block. We had another question from our
I
co-host
think
Brent.
I can I just say I think you're getting a little ahead of yourself there because of I just the rumor thing. I think they're taking bits and pieces of because they have Warner Brothers Discovery has never mentioned anything about content like specifically content. Like we want to make a unified. They have not said anything. The only thing they have said is business oriented, like money wise. They have not said anything like we want to have this one thing. They want to make money is all I've read so far. They want return
Oh
on
no,
investment.
I totally understand that. But again, these like these are businessmen. They're not comic book oriented. The song and dance of multiverse does not exist with Discovery. Like it doesn't.
No, but the song and dance of Joker's $1 billion when it exists outside of everything, it would
Oh
not be
no, don't
made.
don't get me wrong, because they said it in that article. They want
Yeah.
things like Batman, they want things like Joker, but Titans is not like Joker, it's not like
Oh God,
Batman.
no. God no.
Exactly. So it's on the chopping block. So Brent asked us a question in our own chat. He said, question for the show. Would you sacrifice Superman and Lois would you sacrifice Superman and Lois if you knew it meant a successful shared universe? You go first on this one.
No, because you don't. You can still have that. If you have Superman and Lois, that doesn't mean you can't have a successful shared universe as well. Like that can exist on its own. That can exist, and you can also have a successful shared universe in the movies and some TV project. That can be its own thing. That has not referenced any movies that can exist in its own thing. Especially Brent, we've watched Crisis. If the average fan can understand that concept, I don't think having Superman and Lois there is hurting anybody. Uh, no, I know that he's not saying that. He said, "Would you give it up for?" I think you can still do the shared universe anyway. Be successful shared universe anyway. So I wouldn't give it up for the for sure thing. I'd rather put the effort in and actually have a successful shared universe and not have and can still have Superman and Lois. Because I love that show. I know I don't think I would do that. I don't think I would sacrifice the show because it's only going to get better in my opinion. Like I want to see where these characters go. So no.
Here's a very unexpected answer from me. I would. And the reason why is I cannot be a hypocrite because it's something that I have been asking for the longest time. Now, it is a double-edged sword because I can make this sacrifice and there can be a successful shared universe that I do not like.
Yeah.
That's the double-edged sword is
Sticking
I
hard
can
on the I don't want to lose this show kind of thing.
and and the thing is like I was just talking to it because my uncle, he is not in the know of all of this stuff. So I have to, tell him. He's a really big comic book fan from when he was a kid. So he watches every so often, the animated movies, the regular movies of Marvel and DC, but he doesn't know all the drama that is happening, with all of this stuff. So I'm telling him about this, and he was like, "Okay, well, there's the multiverse. Why can't everything, be there?" And I said, because the whole idea of the multiverse, the whole thing with Crisis and everything else, we still have the tease of Crisis that happened with fandom, and that was after the purchase of Discovery, but it was still during all of the legal stuff that was happening before the purchase was complete. So the idea of Crisis can still happen and make a unified, connected universe and erase Superman and Lois.
It could. I think too that if they get rid of CW, you could see more return on investment for some of these shows because they're not being seen nearly enough in the just with the cable company that they're with. They're with a lower tier, a B tier cable company that has it on CW Seed for a day before like
Oh, but I think that the this is the writing on the wall. I don't think there is going to be DC on CW anymore.
Oh, I'm not saying that. No, God, yeah, I think there's only one of these shows that is on CW right now that I think can be successful on HBO Max. That is all, and that is the Superman and Lois one. But
Mhm.
you got to look at how much they spend for episodes and stuff. You got to figure out a lot of that. But I think if you had more time too, Clay, for each episode, because the CW machine, like they're they're working on episodes 1 and 2 while they're filming 3 and 4. Then 3 and 4 goes into Can. Imagine if you could just film 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a 2 month period or 3 month period, then go edit them all at one time. Do VFX, do all that at one time instead of doing 2 episodes, showing them out, filming. Like, take your time, do step by step by step. I think that would be so much better. It's all about listeners. It's all about money for Discovery. It's all about like return on investment. It's all about can these be successful, and you see that not just for here. Netflix just lost a whole, pardon my French, crap tons of subscribers, and
You said pardon
they
your
cut.
French on the word crap?
I know I
Oh,
was joking about
man.
that. I was joking
Oof.
about that. You just reminded me of a Simpsons little Simpson scene where the bullies are there and Nelson says crap instead of shit, and they beat him up for it. And I mean shit, and they beat him up. The other nerds beat him up. So that I got that flashback when you said that there. It's just about if they're successful, can they make money? That is the number one goal for these guys. And I don't think a lot of CW shows are going to be successful. I don't see Naomi get another season. Sorry, Diggle, Justice U is not going to get made. Just my advice, just a little advice from me. Don't be in knockoff Power Rangers movies with Jason David Frank. That is the only advice I can give you unless they pay a lot. If they're going to pay a lot, yeah, I do the same thing. But just in terms of quality, that's way worse than it. Even Justice U, like I a little sad for that. Flash needs to go because it's just been too long. But like I said, I understand the people that are losing these shows are sad. I've been out on CW. There was no bigger champion at CW for a few years there than myself. I watched every episode multiple times. So I understand, but like I said, I think this is writing on the wall for DCCW. I know there's been a lot of tweets of people saying like Crisis set us up for such a new beginning, and I didn't know it was beginning of the end. It was like, oh, like a little time and
It
dramatic here, guys.
no, it's it's time. It had its run. We all had a good time until we started to not have a good time. So I think that the DCCW era is over. I think that you know, WB Discovery can still put content out on CW, but I do not think like we did the story months ago. CW is not making any money. It's not
Not at
making
well.
return on its investment.
There you go. Now
So
you get some Netflix deals, but I see less of that now with these
exactly
like
with
less and
others
quality's gone down. I've seen far less, and with the HBO Max era, I like I said, I don't see Doom Patrol on streaming devices nearly as much as I see Titans. That's the astonishing thing to me. I see Titans. Titans is on cable channels in Canada and on different streaming services in Canada, including Netflix Canada. It's like I
Now,
said, solid return on investment. That's what it
and
boils down to.
again, we talked about the possibility of having HBO Max in Canada and other parts of the world soon, but we've also seen contradicting reports to the fact that Zaslav
From
is kind of like up and down on pushing HBO Max. So it's very
Well, he's
odd.
basically contemplating doing the same thing of selling the content rights to other providers, like he did with Crave in Canada. So I hope that's not the case. That's a little nerve wracking for me there, Clay. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of. I I, I don't know with Doom Patrol. Like these shows aren't on heavy spoilers or new rock stars comparative to the Marvel shows. Like the Marvel shows around there, they're digging into Easter eggs, they're reviewing every episode. They're not doing that for DC shows, minus Peacemaker. Peacemaker was the only one. They're not doing it for Titans. They're not doing it for Doom Patrol. They're not doing it for
But
any of the
that's but
DCCW shows besides the
but
big Crisis event.
they are wanting that. They are
That's what I mean.
wanting to
So
be the talk of the town.
Peacemaker was that. They got that, not for heavy spoilers. He did a season review, but for new Rockstars, they did episode by episode, which shocked me because they don't do that for DC content, TV wise. Only movies. They do the movies. They do the trailer stuff for the movies, but uh, they don't do episodes of DCCW shows or stuff like that. So even Age of Steel
Yes.
got an Easter breakdown. So, uh, which I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see Peacemaker get that, and I hope we see that with more stuff. We, like you said, we're getting the Reeves stuff too, or sorry, S said that in chat. So there'll be 2 more shows, but I think it's just going to be concurrent with DC EU right now. I don't know. I just know that the Superman and Lois have an episode order for a new season, but who knows, that could be canceled. I'm not confident in that at all anymore.
I think that within a year, oh, that's a
Think
big.
we'll get another
That's
season? You think we'll get that season that they're like hinted at getting?
for Superman and Lois.
Mm.
I think they will. I think they will finish out their next season, but I will say in either because we have DCEU movies up until next year. We don't have anything slated for 2024. I will say that within the next year, I'm going to go ahead and go back on my statement because I was going to say within the next 2 years, but I am saying within the next year, within 2023, we are going to see a little bit more of an actual erasure of the DCEU as we know it and a complete reset for everything live action DC. DC Alliance Factor Fiction. I think Marvel Alliance has bullied us enough for
Yeah, well, you
stuff.
want to
So
handle Bully Chris there, S Bubs, and we steal one of his gimmicks? I don't think so. Uh,
I will go ahead. I won't name it Factor Fiction, but I am willing to put in a poll for what people think. Do you think that we will actually have
will we get a
a
4th season of Superman and Lois? Yes or no? Because the 3rd season is already ordered out at night. That could be canceled.
do we
But
have to put a name to this now if we're actually going to do something like this?
no, we're not. We're not.
Shit.
We're not. We can't move into the guy's turf.
We're,
There.
we're not gonna do a Factor Fiction.
No.
But
And fun fact,
I
listeners,
can ask
fact
the
and
question.
fixtures, the fact and fictions from this past week from Marvel
Oh my
Alliance
gosh,
are from yours truly right here. Yeah.
I will go ahead and say this. I'm okay with putting in the question on DC Alliance
Yeah.
Twitter for 2. Will Superman and Lois get a 4th season? And will DC have a fully new era of DC live action by 2024?
Ooh. We'll throw those out to the listeners and see what they think. Clay, I like I said, I feel for the people that lost the shows that they love. There's a couple great articles out, and there's movements to try and save these shows. It has happened before, like Lucifer that went to Netflix after being canceled. Constantine's another one. That the show didn't make it, but he did.
Yeah.
So
But
you don't know.
unfortunately, like I said, if there is a completely if there is a desire for a complete connected universe, these shows can't even make it on HBO Max.
That's true.
That's the problem.
And the final point of the night, Clay, not even the thing that everyone knew. I don't even know why they brought Matt Reeves out on stage to announce this at Cinemacon because
I don't
I
even know
mean
why we're talking about it.
we're talking about it. Give shout out to Mr. Snell. I know that he's excited about this news. The Batman, we're getting a sequel. Obviously, I love how they said Matt Reeves will take you back to Gotham City, and Robert Pattinson will be Batman. No shit, Robert Pattinson is going to be the Batman if Matt Reeves comes back. Like, what are we doing here? Why do you need to announce that? Like, obviously, he's going to be back. So, yeah, we won't speculate on what it is, but it is officially announced. I just want to ask you, when do you think we will see this film? What is the earliest we will see this film?
Earliest we can see this film, I would say if they're putting it out there now on CinemaCon, I think filming could start mid to late 2023 with a beginning of 2025
That's what I was thinking,
return.
2025. But it depends on what villains are used, because if you do like a Mr. Freeze and he is CGI-ish in terms of his gun and what he shoots, I don't know how they'll go that red or not. Or Clayface, then maybe you might have to take a lot.
I don't know, S Bubs. There's just a lot of conflicting reports. They hate each other. That's so hard to work on screen. I think that Matt Reeves and Vin Diesel should work together
Oh God,
because their
no!
toxic
Vin Diesel's
relationships.
busy burning piles of money right now, Clay. Like a la Joker from The Dark Knight. He's just like, I mean, franchise for you that made billions of dollars. Now I'm going to burn it all in front of you guys, waiting to start next film. Uh, but that's everything, Clay. We have tonight. Thanks for the questions, S Bubs and Brant. Uh, I'm super excited for what we're going to have, and I'm nervous for the shows. So that's it for tonight. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at DC Alliance GUA. Like Clay said, we have a birthday apparently. You can follow myself on Twitter at Travis_156 and Clay at Fanboy Clay. You can email the show at DCAlliancePodcast at gmail.com. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. Uh, Tweet us, email the show, just give us feedback. We glad to take your questions and anything you think about the show. Please rate and review the show on your podcast app of choice. And like I always say, thank you for listening. Clay, tell the listeners about your link tree and your other shows before we just bounce out of here.
Yes, I kind of just went out there for a second, so apologize for that. You can always find me at Fanboy Clay on Twitter. Go to the link tree in the bio. You can find DC Alliance, Batman News Weekly, Ranger Alliance, and of course Star Wars Alliance. And with that, thank you so much for lasting this long. And we
And
will
I'm
see you
not
guys.
plugging my show. I'm wearing, if you're on YouTube, I'm wearing my Leaf hat right now. We won 5-0. 15 more wins for the Stanley Cup. Woo! Thank you all for listening, guys. Later, Clay.
See you later.